within you. Guide your way on. Guide your way on. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you. Guide your way on. Guide your way on the Mulgrew, Devnimo, on the Mulgrew, Devnimo, on the Mulgrew, Devnimo. May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you. Guide your way on. Guide your way on. Guide your way on. Guide your way on. So as that music begins to just diminish in our sound and in our minds, I invite you to take a deep and conscious breath, deep into the very core of your being, that place that you know is your own connection with all that is. Breathe into that, and as you exhale, let go. Let your body relax completely into this moment, this time, this space. Whatever may be going on in your life, in your family, in the world out there, let it go. And let us claim in this moment. You can let my words be yours. I am peace. I don't just express peace. I don't just visualize peace coming to me. I claim it now. I am peace. I am peace. Breathe that in and quietly affirm that. Just immediately under your breath a little bit. I am peace. Together, I am peace. Now breathe into that a little more deeply and feel that rise, the knowingness of that rise within you. And with power and authority, let us claim that. I am peace. Together, I am peace. And when we claim that and when we know that, we're in touch with all that we need to be guided and directed in our life, to experience the love that is available to us, to experience the prosperity and abundance that flows to us so easily and naturally, to know the ease and grace of circumstances so that we are blessed. To know that none of that makes any difference in terms of our peace and our happiness. That in all circumstances, I am peace. I know peace. I experience peace. Out of that comes the richness and the fullness of who I am as God on this planet. I claim that now. So as we rest for a moment in the silence of knowing I am peace. I am God with skin on, God on this planet. And I breathe into and know and experience all of the qualities and all of the characteristics that we ascribe to the divine, to the holy, to the all that is. I am one with all that is. I am peace. I am peace. In the silence. Now with another deep conscious breath. Be aware of this room and your surroundings. With your eyes still closed, be aware of the person on your right. Just send them a blessing of love and light. From the peace that you now are, bless them. Now shift your attention to the person on the other side of you. From the peace that you are, send them a blessing of love and light. And in joy we behold this light and this love in ourselves and in one another. As we we begin to let the light sift into our eyelids. Bring your attention back to this room, this time, this space. Open your eyes when you're ready. Look around and behold the glory of your God brothers and sisters. Amen. Although I don't know that we ever really need to say amen to that. We could continue to do that, I suspect. So I want to tell you it is a great honor to be here with you. I'm very, very honored and pleased that your board has decided on the track that they've decided on. I'll talk more about that later and this afternoon. And it's such an honor for me to be able to be here with you and experience you and your board and serve you in this way and be with Reverend Sandra, an old friend. We had a wonderful board training yesterday. You know, your board took some of their own personal time. They spent all day here yesterday listening to me talk. Can you believe it? And we had a great time together, just looking at the way that we are here, you are here as a board, and the kinds of things that are theirs to do, and the kinds of plans that they are making, and who they can be as a board, and how they can be that in a way that serves you and blesses you in every way. It was a wonderful experience for me, and I'm very grateful for that. And thank you so much for the wonderful music today. It's really great. I've heard good things about you. So I'm here to introduce you both to the series that you're starting, and I've really forgot to ask exactly when are we starting the Eye of the Storm series this week? Next Sunday you're starting the Eye of the Storm series. Well, I hope I'm not stealing someone's talk. But I'm here to do that, and I'm also here to talk to you about the transition process that you're beginning to make now. And in the workshop this afternoon after lunch, I promise you it will last 90 minutes and no more. And you can ask questions, but you'll get a much clearer view of what's involved when a church goes through a transition and what kinds of things you can expect and what's expected of you. Because, you know, the Eye of the Storm book, I've studied for nearly 20 years, and I've probably done it at least 15 times, taught it at least 15 times. And believe you me, it teaches you a lot about how to be the eye of the storm. I'm just very aware because this storm is predicted to go, I live 25 miles north of Tampa, so it's predicted to go right over my home. And what we know, what I've learned a lot about hurricanes this time. I've only lived in Florida for 8 months. So is that there is an eye, and around that eye is an amazingly strong and almost solid-like wall. And inside of that eye, it's completely calm and still. Wow. So when we're talking about the eye of the storm, we're not talking about the EYE, which we're talking about in a hurricane. We're talking about the capital I. I am always in the midst, in the center of any storm that I'm experiencing in my life. So how can I, in that awareness, be like the I, the EYE of the hurricane? So that it's completely calm and still within me. Completely calm and still. So what I want to talk about a little bit is that what we know from the several years that I've been doing this, what we know is that at every level, that anytime a church goes through a transition, chaos occurs at some level in every ministerial transition. We know that from evidence-based studies. And all of the feelings that are present anytime any relationship is changed or severed, all of those feelings that are present anytime you've had any experience with a relationship that has changed or been severed, those are present to some degree in the congregation. Some of you may have some feelings of abandonment or betrayal or anger or grief or hurt or jealousy. Some of you may even be relieved. Feelings are not always rational. Sometimes feelings just are. So studying this book, Eye of the Storm, will assist us in being aware and more prepared to notice the feelings that we have, the feelings that are ours, and to be able to have compassion for ourselves and then have compassion for others rather than projecting it possibly on the previous minister or maybe on the new minister who will be coming. In one of his final books that was titled Dynamics for Living, our co-founder Charles Fillmore said that enlightenment is of little or no value. What do you think about that? Enlightenment is of little or no value unless we continue to mature spiritually and emotionally, unless we continue to really grow up and mature. When people ask me, where'd you grow up? I'm fond of saying, I grew tall in Oklahoma, and in my late 30s in Kansas City, I began to grow up. Being spiritually and emotionally mature is the most important work that we have to do. And it doesn't mean that we never experience some of those feelings that we tend to identify and call negative. In fact, feelings are neither negative or positive. Do you know that? They just are, depending on how we interpret them. And a mature person recognizes it for what it's worth. It's information. It's just a feeling. It's just an emotion. It does not define us. The mature person knows how to deal with those feelings appropriately. So this book is practice for living a healthy transition so that the new ministerial partnership that you want to form with your new minister can be done with ease and grace and a great deal of benefit. There's a positive trajectory for the ministry after that. And of course, I want to tell you, your personal relationships will benefit greatly too. Now, I want to tell you that I know that almost nobody is attracted to the workshop titled Conflict 101. I know that. Doesn't sound like much fun, does it? Sounds like maybe a lot of unpleasant work. So I'd like for you to just close your eyes for a minute and bring to mind some kind of conflict or disagreement that you may have had in your life just recently. Close your eyes and think of that person's face. Just think of that time and see that person's face that you were in conflict or disagreement with. And now put your attention on your body and what is happening in your body. Do you notice? So talk to me. What's happening? What were you feeling? What are you re-feeling now that you're experiencing that once again in memory? What were you feeling? He's brave enough to say. Pardon? Clenched teeth, a clenched jaw. Oh, yeah, that's a good sign, isn't it? Yeah, right. In your stomach, in the pit of your stomach, unease, yeah. Anxiety, yeah. What else? Pardon? Disappointment, yeah, sure. All of those kinds of things. So we feel all of those kinds of things in our body. You know, our neck and our shoulders will tighten up. And would you like to know, then, how to experience peace in the midst of that rather than what you felt in that situation? Would you like to know how to do that? Okay. You know, you're going through a very significant change, and the change itself is one of the primary causes of conflict in our personal lives and in our congregations. And I notice that sometimes in unity, we're a little averse to admitting that we have conflicts or that we're in conflict. We seem to think that it's ununity-like or unholy. In unity, we believe in peace and harmony, and we absolutely do. And I talked about that in the meditation, I think. And we talk about it all the time, and yet I believe we tend to misidentify what peace and harmony really means. We say that we're going into the silence. The silence is not the absence of sound. It is the awareness that I am the presence of God. Peace is not the absence of conflict or chaos or upset in the environment. Peace is the awareness that we are the peace of God. That awareness that the peace is within ourselves even when we are in the midst of a disagreement. Whether it's when our families are in a political contest or the awful fact of the world and in the violence in the world and in our streets, misunderstanding or disagreement with someone that we love, or in our church, or even in our weather. So let's affirm this, will you? I'm going to give you an affirmation. Let's see how well you can say this. Conflict is neither good or bad, it just is. Oh, conflict is neither good or bad, it just is. Together. Conflict is neither good or bad, it just is. Absolutely good for you. It can't be avoided. It can be suppressed for a while, but left unresolved, it will begin to leak out in harmful ways. Conflict occurs, period. You know, at Unity Worldwide Ministries, we used to talk about conflict management. We don't do that anymore. Do you know why? Because we discovered you cannot manage conflict. All we can do is manage ourselves in the midst of it. So conflict is neither good or bad. It just is, and it is our thinking about it that make it so. So again, wouldn't you like to know that when you're in the midst of conflict, you can manage your own self better so that you're peaceful, you're happier, you're able to work out a better resolution to the disagreement that you may be having. It's interesting to me that the World Day of Prayer theme this year is Peace in the Midst. And when it first came out, I was thinking primarily about, the world conflict and the possibility of the nuclear problem that we might encounter, or the things in our nation, all the stuff that's going on. But that's not it. It means peace regardless. So I worked in so many churches over the last 7 years. I know that there are some of you who are here who are making up in their heads, who are constructing a job description for this new minister, who have some expectations that this new person who's eventually going to come to you is going to be Jesus Jr. So now I'm going to tell you something. Your board has done and is doing its job. I have a lot of experience with this, and I can tell you that they're doing a very good job. They're doing it well. They first of all arranged for you to have a good Sunday services on a continuing basis, and they also have determined the direction that they feel Spirit is calling them to take in terms of the process that you'll use for transition, and that's part of why I'm here. They've chosen a process that is a conscious transition. So this is not a time of just waiting for the new minister. We're just waiting for the new minister. This isn't just in between Reverend Karen and whomever you may call. It's a sacred time in the life of this congregation. It can be invigorating and energizing and catalyze the spiritual gifts within each one of you. If you're willing to surrender your attachments to how you think it ought to be, or what you thought it ought to be, or your belief that it may be the board's job to take care of you. Anybody ever work in an office where you finally had to put up a sign in the kitchen that said, "Wash your dishes and put them away, your mother does not work here"? Here's the parallel. The board and Reverend Sandra, they are not your mama. It is not their job to take care of you. I keep wanting to use this, and I don't think it counts. They care for you very much. But it's not their job to take care of you. They have their job to do, and they're doing it. They have several jobs. But I want to tell you something. You have a job description too. Every one of you has a job description too. Do you know that? Has anybody ever told you what your job description as a member or as someone who attends here is? Anybody ever told you that? You have a job description. If you come here for any reason, out of habit, out of friendship, for the coffee hour, for upliftment of the principles and the teaching, you have to decide how much you value what this spiritual community brings to you and provides for you. So I'm asking you really, I'm asking you quite seriously, how much do you value this spiritual community? Really? You know? How much do you value the wonderful outreach program that you have of Family Promise, which is just a spectacular program in my opinion? Or the other spiritual social action that you're engaged in? Does what you give here financially and in participation and in sacred service, does what you give here compare to what you maybe spend for movies and dinner? What do you do to support a sport or other recreation? Now listen, folks. Time with your family, having a good time together, playtime is important for you. It's important for you. But how does the money that you spend reflect what you truly value? When you get enduring principles that help your life get better and better. That's all I'm asking. You're operating right now at a deficit budget. Did you know that? You're operating at a deficit budget. The average per capita giving for a church your size is about $35 to $36 per person every Sunday that they come. Now, I know not everybody can give that. It's not that we expect everybody to give exactly that. And we also know that there are many people who give much more than that. The question is not so much how much you give. It is whether you're giving from your income so that it reflects how this spiritual community blesses your life and your own personal prosperity and sense of well-being. Something to think about, isn't it? Yeah. Our giving and our spending has to be in balance with good circulation if we're going to be the presence of pure being. We have to honor the laws, the universal laws of good circulation if we're going to be able to experience being in the presence of pure being. And so another part of your job is participating fully in this transition. So that means showing up, putting the dates for the Hopkoff, which is the next thing we're going to do, which is October the 28th or 9th, and for Vision, Mission, and Core Values, which I believe is going to be December the 3rd, putting on your calendar right now and planning to be here all day on Saturday for that. It'll be a wonderful, exciting time, and I'll explain more about those things later this afternoon. But put them in your calendar now and set that time aside and plan to show up on Saturday and Sunday, both of that weekend. It is your job as a member, as someone who attends here, someone who uses this space and this time to show up on Sundays and invite your friends. How long has it been since you've invited anybody you know to this church? Really, how long has it been? What are we afraid of in asking people to join us in church? Do we have a good time here? Aren't we sure that others would have a good time here too? Invite your friends. So that's your job, to participate in the sacred service opportunities here and in the outreach programs that you sponsor. To know peace in me, in spite of the seeming chaos, doesn't mean that we might not get clobbered with flying debris from time to time. We might. But we can remain peaceful in spite of what is happening around us or to us. in the eye of the storm, one of the things that you'll learn is that nothing and no one is against me. Quite a statement, isn't it? Nothing and no one is against me. And I see things not as they are, but as I am. And the best news of all is that you are, I am, the presence of pure being. Are you willing to affirm that with me? I dare you, affirm that with me. I am the presence of pure being. Together, I am the presence of pure being. Absolutely, you are. I am the presence of pure love. Together, I am the presence of pure love. I am one with all that is. I am one with all that is. I see you embracing this time, those principles fully, so that in the very marrow of your being, you know always that this is so. God bless you. I look forward to seeing you in the workshop this afternoon.